20 most significant historical wars. From Greco-Persian to Vietnam. 1. Greco-Persian Wars, 499–449 BC. A series of conflicts between the Greek city-states and the Persian Empire. The wars began with the Ionian Revolt in 499 BC, followed by the first Persian invasion of Greece in 492 BC. The most famous battles include Marathon, 490 BC, Thermopylae, 480 BC, Salamis, 480 BC, and Plataea, 479 BC. The Greeks, led by Athens and Sparta, ultimately defeated the Persians, preserving Greek independence and laying the groundwork for the development of Western civilization. Peloponnesian War, 431–404 BC. A protracted conflict between Athens and its empire, known as the Delian League and the Peloponnesian League, led by Sparta. The war was largely fought for dominance in Greece. The Athenian alliance collapsed after a disastrous campaign in Sicily, 415–413 BC, leading to Sparta's victory and the decline of Athenian power. Punic Wars, 264–146 BC. A series of 3 wars fought between Rome and Carthage. The First Punic War, 264–241 BC, was primarily a naval conflict over control of Sicily. The Second Punic War, 218–201 BC, saw Hannibal's famous invasion of Italy, including his crossing of the Alps with elephants. Despite initial successes, Carthage was eventually defeated. The Third Punic War, 149–146 BC, resulted in the destruction of Carthage and the annexation of its territories by Rome. Gallic Wars, 58–50 BC. A series of military campaigns waged by Julius Caesar against several Gallic tribes. Caesar's conquest of Gaul significantly expanded Roman territory and power. Roman-Persian Wars, 92 BC 629 AD. A series of conflicts between the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire, primarily over control of Mesopotamia. The wars were characterized by shifting fortunes and resulted in territorial gains and losses for both sides. Roman-Germanic Wars, 12 BC 16 AD. A series of conflicts between the Roman Empire and various Germanic tribes, including the Teutoburg Forest Massacre in 9 AD, which resulted in a significant Roman defeat. Three Kingdoms Period, 220–280 AD. A period in Chinese history characterized by the division of China into 3 competing states: Wei, Shu, and Wu. The period was marked by political intrigue, military conflict, and the rise of legendary figures such as Cao Cao, Liu Bei, and Sun Quan. Byzantine-Sasanian War of 602–628. A war between the Byzantine Empire and the Sasanian Empire, which weakened both empires and left them vulnerable to the rise of Islam. Viking raids and invasions, 8th–11th centuries. A series of raids, invasions, and conquests by Vikings from Scandinavia. The Vikings raided and settled in many parts of Europe, Asia, and North America, leaving a lasting impact on the regions they visited. Crusades, 1096–1291. A series of religious wars fought by European Christians against Muslims in the Holy Land. The Crusades were launched with the goal of recapturing Jerusalem and the Holy Land from Muslim rule. The Crusades had profound effects on European society, politics, and culture. Mongol invasions, 13th century. A series of invasions by the Mongol Empire, led by figures such as Genghis Khan and Kublai Khan. The Mongols conquered vast territories in Asia and Europe, creating the largest contiguous empire in history. 100 Years' War, 1337–1453. A series of conflicts between the Kingdom of England and the Kingdom of France, primarily over control of the French throne. The war saw the development of new military tactics and the rise of national identities in both countries. Wars of the Roses, 1455–1487. A series of civil wars in England fought between the rival houses of Lancaster and York, which ultimately led to the establishment of the Tudor dynasty. 30 Years' War, 1618–1648. One of the most destructive conflicts in European history, fought primarily in Germany. The war began as a religious conflict between Protestants and Catholics, but evolved into a broader conflict involving most of the major powers of Europe. Napoleonic Wars, 1803–1815. A series of wars fought between France under the leadership of Napoleon Bonaparte and various European coalitions. The wars resulted in the expansion of French territory and the eventual defeat of Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo. American Civil War, 1861–1865. A civil war fought in the United States between the Northern States, Union, and the Southern States, Confederacy, over issues including slavery and states' rights. The war resulted in the abolition of slavery and the preservation of the Union. World War I, 1914–1918. A global war involving many of the world's great powers, fought primarily in Europe. The war saw the use of new military technologies and tactics, including trench warfare and chemical weapons. World War II, 1939–1945. A global war involving many countries, including the great powers, fought between the Allies, led by the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Kingdom, and the Axis powers, led by Germany, Italy, and Japan. The war resulted in the deaths of millions of people and had a lasting impact on the geopolitical landscape of the world. Korean War, 1950–1953. A war between North Korea, supported by China and the Soviet Union, and South Korea, supported by the United Nations, primarily the United States, over the Korean Peninsula. The war ended in a stalemate, with the border between North and South Korea remaining largely unchanged. Vietnam War, 1955–1975. A war fought between North Vietnam, supported by the Soviet Union and China, and South Vietnam, supported by the United States, over the control of Vietnam. The war ended with the fall of Saigon and the unification of Vietnam under communist rule.